Hey guys, so as you can see, I have a fancy new mic and I'm trying really hard to make sure that I'm not too close or far away from it. I don't exactly know what I'm doing here, but hopefully I'll figure it out as I go. This is primarily for the purpose of recording vocals to go with my tracks, not the vocals that will actually be like placed onto my songs, but as a placeholder so I can see how the music fits to my voice. I'll be recording actual vocals at a recording studio, but I figured that I could also use it for my YouTube videos because why not have a better audio if I have the option? So yeah, I feel like a fancy YouTuber now. My ring just fell. Anyways, I had the flu because a family member at the Christmas Eve party brought all of their children with the flu, and they knew and didn't tell us because they're really kind human beings. I don't know if turning my head to the side is affecting the audio. I need to pay attention to that. Anyways, so I've just had a bunch of random sicknesses the past few months, but I'm actually doing decent. I was kind of just depressed and down and felt very unfulfilled for the most part for quite a while, but I think I am a little bit happier now, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I am on medication for my OCD, and a lot of things in my life seem to be a lot better when I don't have as much OCD, because that just makes me more depressed, way more anxious, which making me more anxious in turn makes me more depressed. And it is really, really attributed to my eating disorder as well. So everything mental health-wise has started to look up a lot more since I've been on this medication, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I am very happy about it. I will say that today I'm in a little bit of a mood, but that's just because today has been one of those days where every little thing is going wrong, and I am getting very frustrated, but overall I am much happier and I'm doing pretty well, and I found balance and structure, and I just feel more rounded as a human being than I have in the past, and I made some good self-realizations. And my best friend had a baby. There's just so much. That's not what you guys came to this video for, so sorry about that. I will put timestamps in this video if you just want to skip past the intro and go right onto the topic, because I know that sometimes people come to a video and then there's a big long intro and they get really annoyed because they just want you to jump right to the topic of the video. So I'll put that there, and hopefully it makes things a little bit better for you on your part if you don't want to watch this. And if you don't, then you're probably past this point of the video already. Okay guys, so to start this off, I really just want to make sure that you guys know I'm not trying to discourage you from getting treatment whatsoever. And I had a really hard time even making this video. Well, I'm having a hard time making this video because I really don't want people to think that I have been promoting treatment this whole time and it's actually a bad thing, or that I'm discouraging you from getting it, because it saved my life. And above anything, I'm extremely grateful that I had the opportunity to go to treatment and that I was that lucky, and that I have a life that I'm living currently, and that I'm not super hung up in a disorder that would have eventually taken my life, most likely. I also just want to throw in a little disclaimer right here really quickly. I'm getting a little bit more into detail about things than I normally do, and so I just want to warn you in case some of the terminology I use might be a little bit triggering. I try as hard as I possibly can not to be triggering in any of my videos, so I'm not going to be saying anything that's like immensely triggering. I never mention numbers or like nitty-gritty details of things, just because the purpose of this channel is not to share those things with you. It's to share my experience and help you guys as much as I can, and other people that are trying to help people with eating disorders. So treatment was the first time more so than the second, but still the second time. It was very traumatizing for me, and it's a good thing to go if you need to go. I know that you don't want to go to a treatment center after somebody tells you, hey, that place was traumatic for me. But traumatic experience over being stuck in an endless awful cycle, being stuck in hell essentially. I think treatment definitely wins when you weigh the two against each other. Let me share my experience, and let's just hope that I'm not doing a bad thing here. The reason that I wanted to share this is because I feel like half of the reason that it's hard for me to be happy and to focus on things throughout the day is because I have a really bad sleep schedule. I get up at the same time every day, but I have a really hard time getting to sleep at a good time, and more importantly, staying asleep throughout the night. I wake up like 10 to 20 times every single night. So I get very poor sleep. And this is because I have treatment dreams 90% of the time, and they're almost always traumatic. They're almost always nightmares. There was just a lot of stuff about that experience that was really difficult, and I know that my experience is going to be very, very different from other people's. This is just my own experience, and I'm sure that there are many people, I know many people actually, that had a good experience with it, that it was not traumatizing for in this way, but this is how it affected me, and I'm choosing to share it just because I apparently can't get over it, because I think about it every night, and I've been out for over a year now. So the first thing, obviously, is that they take away all of your control over everything. Every little minute thing that you don't even think of, that you take for granted throughout the day that you have control over, you don't have control over anymore. You aren't your own person. And I get that this is necessary. I know that it's very, very needed, but it's traumatic to be somewhere for several months and feel like a toddler. There were also some techs there that obviously had their own eating disorders. Yeah, so just having no autonomy basically was kind of traumatic in its own way. And that's just like the tip of the iceberg. Also, it was just a place where you could process things for once. You could feel free to have emotions. And the reason that was traumatic was because I had a panic attack almost every single day, because I was actually having to deal with the things that I was pushing under the surface with my eating disorder, that I was avoiding and running away from. So having to confront that every single day and be stuck in a facility where I had zero control over any little action that I made all day was difficult. Another thing is that people there would try to, how do I put this delicately? They would try to end their lives as well. So that was scary. And little fact about me, I'm going to put a small trigger warning right here. I'm just mentioning self-harm briefly. I've never mentioned this before, really, but when I was 15, I had an issue with self-harm, and that stopped the same year. I never really went back to it until I was in treatment, because all of this stuff happening there, not having my coping mechanism anymore, which was my eating disorder, I just found another one that was really unhealthy, and self-harm became a really big thing for me, and that in itself is also traumatic for me, because that whole situation was just a nightmare. There are so many awful, awful stories associated with that, with me and other people that I can't mention, won't mention. I am happy to say that I'm over that now. It's been, I don't know, like maybe a year and a half, 2 years, probably about 2 years, almost. So also, one of the most traumatizing aspects of it was that I mentioned in one of my videos, I think it was the first video that I made when I came back from treatment, that one of the techs there had it out for me, right? She just hated me. And I can say now that I've been out of treatment for a good while, guys. I am not coming at this with a distorted mindset. I still fully believe that she hated me. I don't think she was treating me this way because she cared at all about helping me with my eating disorder, because the things that I got punished for were not eating disorder specific for the most part. They were very arbitrary things that didn't make any sense, and the punishments were very extreme. And that's what I'm going to be getting into, because that was the most traumatic part for me, were the punishments. I mentioned these in the first video that I made when I got back from treatment as well, but I kind of laughed it off. And I've mentioned before that I do that as a coping mechanism, and I wasn't really taking it seriously, but it affected me a lot more than I mentioned in that video. So there was a time where I was eating a sandwich and it had lettuce on it, and I did not like lettuce on my sandwiches. I still don't like lettuce on my sandwiches. So I was still eating the whole meal. I just took the lettuce off and then I ate the lettuce separately so I could enjoy my sandwich. I don't know if that sounds normal or if it sounds distorted, but I thought that it sounded healthy, and I still don't know if it sounds healthy or not, to be honest. But the reason that I thought it was a healthy choice, was like a mentally healthy choice, was because I was wanting to enjoy the food, if that makes sense. But anyways, so the tech that hated me, she got mad at me for doing this, and she could have, just corrected me and been like, hey, you're not supposed to do that, so don't do that from now on. But instead, she took my food away from me, and I wasn't allowed to eat any of it. And they gave me Boost, which was the replacement shake. So it's like 6 in the morning, and I'm still up editing this video because I never went to sleep because I have insomnia. I forgot to say the rest of this story. So the tech actually ended up being like, okay, well, you have 2 minutes, and if you can eat all of this food that you have, which was the entire freaking meal, in 2 minutes, then you don't have to drink your shake, which that to me sounds much more distorted than whatever behavior I was exhibiting. Then I got put on phase contemplation, which you have to stare at a wall for 4 hours in silence and do assignments about how your behavior was wrong and write a little essay. And you aren't allowed to talk to anybody during this time at all. And when you go to meals, they are not allowed to speak to you. You're not allowed to speak to them. And you basically don't exist. And this was not helpful to me at all, because that was the only way I was really getting through mealtime, was being able to talk to the other people at the table, being able to distract myself and know that we're all having a hard time and we're all doing it together. So it was really hard for me. But it wasn't just that. There were so many other little things that I got punishments for that were just stupid. I'm not trying to claim that I'm perfect in any way. I definitely pulled a couple of stunts where a punishment was warranted. I became very rebellious because of that place. There was one time where they did not have a bed for me on inpatient anymore. Like, there was just, I was supposed to stay on inpatient still, but there was a night where somebody else had to use my bed. And so just for the one night, I was supposed to sleep on residential. So the tech that didn't like me walked me over to residential, and I talked to one of the girls there before I went to bed for like 2 minutes. It wasn't even bedtime yet. It was like 10 minutes away from bedtime. And then I went to my room and I went to bed. And the next day I got up and I was told that I was on phase contemplation again. And this was in the same week. Apparently, I wasn't supposed to talk to anybody over there. Nobody told me that. And she told the other techs that we had talked about it and that I knew, but I didn't. That was never a discussion. And none of the other techs even knew that this was a rule. So I don't know if she just pulled it out of her ass or what. And the most frustrating part out of all of this, I think, was that nobody believed me. Like, everybody treated me like I was a liar. The other patients believed me, but not the techs and the therapists and the dietitians. And then there was one time that I had a small behavior and I tattled on myself because I wanted to be working on my recovery there, and I knew that that was not constructive. So I told my dietitian exactly what I did and that I wouldn't do it again and that I learned my lesson. And then I got phase contemplation, which I feel like negative reinforcement is just not healthy. I don't know. I don't think that it's helpful at all. With my experience, things became very shame-based, and I don't think that that is constructive when you are in a facility that's meant to help you treat a shame-based disorder. There were probably over like 300 rules that you had to memorize, and if you forgot any of them, you got phase contemplation, and I got it 3 times in a week. And if that happens, then you get behavioral, which is 24 hours like that. And then after that, it's bed rest, where you have to be locked in your room all day long, and you can't attend groups or meals or anything else. I know that a lot of the rules were necessary for reasons that I am unaware of, and I understand that, and that's okay. But I don't think that the punishments that follow are necessary or are okay. And if you want to know what all of the rules were, well, all of the ones I could remember at least, then I'll put a link up to the video somewhere up here. So now I feel like shit because I feel like I've discouraged you guys from getting help, and that is not what I want to do at all. But I still feel like I needed to make this video because just talking about it, just sharing these things, like, it makes me shake. It makes me very upset, and obviously, even if I'm not thinking about it throughout the day, it still affects me so much because I dream about it almost every single night, and I have horrible insomnia because of it. I'm sorry, again, I don't want to make you not get help. That's not the point of this video, and I feel like that's what I did. This was specific to the time that I went to treatment, and very specific to the staff members as well. And one reason that I still recommend the treatment center that I go to is because the vast majority of the staff members that were like that towards me are no longer there, and I still agree with a lot of the basic things that the treatment center has to offer, and I do think that it has potential to be very helpful in several ways, just not with the staff that was in place when I was there. I loved certain things about my treatment center. I met some of the best friends that I've ever had at that treatment center, and I am very grateful for it for so many reasons, because like I said, it saved my life, and it made me into the person that I am today that is making these videos for you guys. I never would have made content like this. I never would have had the knowledge to make content like this, and I never would have been so informed about the illness in my own brain. So I'm very happy that I went, and I really, really encourage you guys to get some form of help. Just advocate for yourself when you feel that you need to, because if you feel that something isn't right in a treatment center that you're in or with an outpatient treatment team that you have, advocate for yourself. Use your voice. That's something that they teach you in treatment, yet they also did a very good job of taking our voice away. That was, again, just specific to the staff. I can't stress that enough, because I get help if you need help. That is the point of this video. I don't want to... what am I doing? Am I just being damaging at this point? I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking. You can tell I'm stressed by how much I keep messing with my freaking hair. Please be kind to me in the comments. If I said something wrong, let me know. The last thing that I want to do is be harmful towards you in any way. I just want to help. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Have a good night. Leave me a comment. Please subscribe if you have not already. I would love it. It would be wonderful to have you as part of this little community, and then you can watch new videos that I have like this one. And if you want to get notified when those new videos are up, then you can hit the little bell next to the subscribe button. How cool is that? If you liked this video and you want to support what I do, then please hit the like button. I get really annoyed when people ramble on about stuff like this, but I'm just doing it because I don't do it often, and I want to promote myself a tiny bit, but I might just be doing the opposite. I will see you in my next video very soon. Love you all. I don't know how to end this video. Bye.